Ohayoki. Um, Ohayoki. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Uh, whatever it is in your time zone. Hi, everybody. Good, I'm gonna say evening because it's evening over here. And that's kind of the tone of this entire stream. Good evening, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to the part 2 of the story time reading stream because sorry, I'm moving myself. Because I heard you guys all really like that, so I'm gonna do another one. Is that okay? Like, it's a sort of hoodie sort of day. Good morning. Bedtime. It's bedtime. Ah man, I knew I was forgetting something. I once again forgot my water. Please don't be mad at Yoki. I was really rushing. I would have remembered it had it not been I was rushing. I went out to get myself something to eat. I couldn't find any places that had something I wanted. So I kept walking in and out of stores. I was really picky. There's really nothing that I wanted, but I was really hungry. So it took me longer than I expected. And then I had to eat on top of it. But fortunately for me, after long argument with the thoughts in my head, I settled on some Burger King, and I had Burger King. Did you eat well, Yoki? I ate very well. The Burger King burgers aren't healthy in the slightest, but in moderation, they're delicious. I'm here for story. I'm glad because I have a bunch of stories to show to you. They're very good stories. Once again, there are over 100 plus stories in this book, so I don't think I'll be like. There's some I can't read due to them just being so overly dark, but there are lots of stories, and I don't think I'll be running out of content of this book anytime soon. So once again, it is everybody's bedtime, so I urge you. I'm gonna jump right into it, because might as well, since everybody's all relaxed and settled. So I urge you, go ahead, get some tea, maybe something hot to drink like hot cocoa, what's it? Maybe get a blanket too, you know, a plushie, snuggle with something or somebody. Sit back in your chair, relax, and I will read you a story. So like always, hold on, let me pull up the set list. These are all stories we read last time. Story set list. Hi. Hot cocoa sounds so nice. I recently got marshmallows for s'mores, so if I ever go out again, I should get myself some hot cocoa. I want to snuggle with Riv. Get a room, you two. I'm kidding. Anyway, let's see. What story should we read first? So, the first story we're going to be reading is The True Story of Little Golden Hood. I'll just paste it right here. I spelled little wrong. How did I do that? Okay. Cut me some slack. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Go put that right there. Now what page was it on again? I forgot. 108. I'm gonna have to quiet down my own rain sounds. Okay. 148 was it? No, 108. Or was it 148? Okay, wait. I think I'm missing crucial information over here. Oh, no, I think it's around here. Hi. Alright. I got it. Let me just move this back. Yoki sounded jealous there. Really? Really? I was being sarcastic. Okay. Are you ready, everybody? Everybody ready? Oh, wait. Oh my gosh. Okay, there we go. Everybody ready? Ikuzo? Everybody got their hot drink. And everybody else got get their blanket, laying down in bed. Everybody snuggled up, you know. How's everybody feeling? Ready? Okay. Alright, good. Once again, please forgive me if I stumble over words. I think the entire point of this stream or exercise to myself personally as a personal goal is to stop stumbling over words so much. I do that very, very often. I do want to get better at it. Not that I can't read, it just... my brain is too fast for my mouth. Yoki is illiterate confirmed. Okay. I do not have rib to snuggle with you yet. I'm not ready. I'll message Rib for you. Trust me, don't worry. Okay. This is the true story of Little Golden Hood. You know the tale of poor little Red Riding Hood that the wolf deceived and devoured with her cake, her little butter can, and her grandmother. Well, the true story happened quite differently, as we know now. And first of all, the girl was, and still is, called Little Golden Hood. And secondly, it was not she, nor the grand dame, but the wicked wolf who was in the end caught and devoured. Only listen. The story begins something like the tale. There was once but a little girl. There was once a little peasant girl, pretty and nice as a star in its season. Her real name was Blanchette, but she was more often than called the Little Golden Hood, on account of the wonderful little cloak with a hood, gold and fire-colored, which she always had on. This little hood was given to her by her grandmother, who was so old that she did not know her age. It ought to bring her good luck, for it was made of a ray of sunshine, she said, and as the good old woman was considered something of a witch, everyone thought the hood to be rather bewitched too. And so it was, as you will see. One day the mother said to the child, "Let us see, my little golden hood, if you now know the way by yourself. You shall take this good piece of cake to your grandmother for a Sunday treat tomorrow, and you will ask her how she is and come back at once, without stopping to chatter on the way with people you don't know. Do you quite understand?" "I quite understand," replied Blanchette gaily, and she went off with the cake, quite proud of her errand. But the grandmother lived in another village, and there was a big wood to cross before getting there. At a turn of the road under the trees, suddenly, who goes there? Friend Wolf. He had seen the child start alone, and the villain was waiting to devour her, but at the same moment he perceived some woodcutters who might observe him, and he changed his mind. Instead of falling upon Blanchette, he came frisking up to her like a good dog. "'Tis you, my nice little Golden Hood," said he. So the little girl stops to talk with the wolf, who, for all that, she did not know quite in the least. "You know me, then," she says. "What is your name?" "My name is Friend Wolf. And where are you going thus, my pretty one, with your little basket on your arm?" "I am going to my grandmother to take a good piece of cake for her Sunday treat tomorrow." "And where does she live, your grandmother?" "She lives at the other side of the wood, in the first house in the village, near the windmill, you know." "Ah, yes, I know now," said the wolf. "Well, that's just where I'm going. I shall get there before you, no doubt, with your little bits of legs, and I'll tell her you're coming to see her, and then she'll wait for you." Thereupon the wolf cuts across the wood, and in 5 minutes arrive at the grandmother's house. He knocks at the door. No answer. He knocks louder. Nobody. He stands up on end and puts his 2 forepaws on the latch, and the door opens. Not a soul in the house. The old woman had risen early to sell herbs in town, and she had gotten off in such a haste that she left her budded maid with her great nightcap on her pillow. "Good," said the wolf to himself. I know what I'll do." He shuts the door and pulls on the grandmother's nightcap down to his eyes, and he lies down all his length in the bed and draws the curtains. In the meantime, the good Blanchette went quietly on her way, as little girls do, amusing herself here and there by picking Easter daisies, and watching the little birds making their nest and running round after the butterflies which fluttered in the sunshine. At last she arrives at the door. Knock, knock. "Who's there?" said the wolf, softening his rough voice as best he can. "It's me, Granny, your little Golden Hood. I'm bringing you a piece of cake for your Sunday treat tomorrow." Press your finger on the latch, push, and then the door opens. Why, you've got a cold, Granny, she said, coming in. A little, replies the wolf, pretending to cough. Shut the door well, my little lamb. Put your basket on the table, then take off your frock and come lie down by me, and you shall rest a little. The good child undresses, but observe this. She kept her little hood on her head. When she saw what a figure her granny cut in bed, the poor little thing was much surprised. Oh, cries she, how you are like friend Wolf, grandmother. That's on account of my nightcap, child, replies the wolf. Oh, what hairy arms you've got, grandmother. All the better to hug thee with, my child. Oh, what a big tongue you've got, grandmother. All the better for answering, child. Oh, what a great mouthful of white teeth you have, grandmother. That's for crunching little kids with. And the wolf opened his jaws wide to swallow Blanchette. She put her head down, crying, Mama, Mama, and the wolf only caught her by her hood. Thereupon, oh dear, he draws back, crying and shaking his jaws as if he swallowed red-hot coals. It was the fire-colored hood that had burnt his tongue right down to his throat. The little hood, you see, was one of those magic caps they used to have in former times in the stories for making oneself invisible or invulnerable. So there was the wolf with his throat burnt, jumping off the bed and trying to find the door, howling and howling, as if all the dogs in the country were at his heels. Just at this moment, the grandmother arrives, returning from town with her long sack empty on her shoulder. Ah, brigand, she cries, wait a bit. Quickly, she opens her sack wide across the door, and the maddened wolf springs in head downwards. It is he now that is caught, swallowed like a letter in the post. For the brave old Jane shuts her sack, so she runs down and empties it in the well, where the vagabond, still howling, tumbles in and is drowned. Ah, scoundrel, you thought you would crunch my little grandchild. Well, tomorrow we will make a muff of your skin, and you yourself should be crunched, for we will give your carcass to the dogs. Thereupon the grandmother hastened to dress poor Blanchette, who was still trembling in with fear in bed. Well, she said to her, without my little hood, where would you be now, darling? And to restore heart and legs to the child, she made her eat a good piece of her cake and drink a good draught of wine, after which she took her by the hand and led her back to the house. And then, who was it that scolded her when she knew all that had happened? It was her mother. But Blanche promised over and over again that she would never more stop to listen to a wolf, so that at last her mother forgave her. And Blanchette, the little golden hood, kept her word, and in fine weather she may still be seen in the fields with her pretty little hood, the color of the sun. But to see her you must rise early. Hi. The end. And that's the end of that story. Hi. Okay. It wasn't too different of a retelling. There's only a little bit of a supernatural aspect to it, that differentiates how the story goes in general. In the original telling of Little Red Riding Hood, or the Little Golden Hood, Little Red Riding Hood is swallowed, and then the wolf is killed, and then Little Red Riding Hood, is cut out of the wolf's belly, which is considerably darker than how this story goes, fortunately. This story, the wolf just bites her hood, and her hood has magic powers, and he burns his tongue, and then the grandma, like the boss she is, drowns him. Talk about cooling down in the water. But overall, it's not too terribly different. However, it does put a good twist on things. It's also definitely an old telling. Every story of Little Red Riding Hood is absolutely wild. I think the more child-friendly version is that the hunter comes in and manages to kill the wolf first before he's able to swallow Little Red Riding Hood, and Grandma's in the cupboard or something along those lines. Actually, every telling of Little Red Riding Hood is considerably dark. There's no really good way to tell the story because all of it, something traumatizing happens to the poor little child. there's no kid-friendly way to tell this story. At least one that I can think of. The one that I just explained is probably the most PG out of all of them. Does Yoki's hoodie have magic powers? I guess so. I mean, I guess it just turns me into Inami Yoki. Yeah. When I when I put on this hoodie, I get the magic power to say nya after every sentence. Like, you know, nya? I could end every single sentence with nya nya. A very useful hoodie, nya. In my childhood, the Red Riding Hood got killed by the wolf, nya. Well, that's pretty dark, nya. Is that the end of the story right there? Roll credits, nya. That's it, nya. She just dies, and the moral of the story is to never talk to strangers. Yeah. That's just it. Imagine telling that to your kid. Imagine telling that to your kid. Oh yeah, so there's this girl, she talks to this wolf. The wolf pretends to be her grandmother, and she dies. She gets eaten. Just telling that to your kid, like your kid just looks at you in absolute horror, yeah. That's terrifying, that's traumatizing, yeah. Okay, I'll stop with the yeah. And then everyone dies, the end. That's it. Imagine how, like, terrified the kids must be. Like, she just died, that's it. Don't talk to strangers. Man, that's horrible. Okay. Don't trust grandmas. I guess that's one way to think about it. Okay. Now, the next story is The Troll's Daughter. Now, ちょっと待って. Cut! The hunter sells Little Red Riding Hood to the slave lord. God, what stories are they telling you? That's awful. Anyway, here's this next story. It's called The Troll's Daughter. It's a pretty good story. I've only read it once before though. So, what page is it on? I should probably start memorizing these things. The Troll's Daughter. It's 275. 200, 200, 200, 245, 255, 263, 281, 277, 275. Found it. Oh, and this is a wall of text. Okay. There once was a lad who went to look for a place. As he went along, he met a man who asked him where he was going. He told him his errand, and the stranger said, "Then you can serve me. I am just in want of a lad like you, and I will give you good wages, a bushel of money for the first year, 2 for the second year, and 3 for the third year. For you must serve me for 3 years, and obey me in everything, however strange it seems to you. You need not be afraid of taking service with me, for there is no danger in it if you only know how to obey." The bargain was made, and the lad went home with the man whom he had engaged himself. It was a strange place indeed, for he lived in a bank in the middle of a wild forest, and the lad saw that there was no other person there than his master. The latter was a great troll, and had marvelous power over both men and beasts. Next day, the lad began his service. The first thing that the troll set him up to do was to feed all of the wild animals of the forest. These the troll had tied up, and there were both wolves and bears, deers and hares, which the troll had gathered in the stalls and folds in his stable down beneath the ground, and the stable was a mile long. The boy, however, accomplished all this work on that day, and the troll praised him and said how very well it was done. The next morning the troll said to him, "Today the animals are not to be fed, and they don't get like that. They don't get the like of that every day. You shall have to leave to play for about a little until they are to be fed again." Then the troll said some words to him which he did not understand, and with that the lad had turned into a hare, and ran out into the wood. He got plenty to run for, too, for all the hunters aimed at him and tried to shoot him, and the dogs barked and ran after them whenever they got wind of him. He was the only animal that was left in the wood now, for the troll had tied up all the others. Every hunter in the whole country was eager to knock him over, but in this they met with no success. There was no dog that could overtake him, and no marksman that could hit him. They shot and shot at him, and he ran and ran. It was an unquiet life, but in the long run he got used to it, when he saw that there was no danger in it, and it even amused him to befool all the hunters and dogs that were so eager after him. Thus a whole year passed, and when it was over, the troll called him home, for he was now in his power like all the other animals. The troll then said some words to him in which he did not understand, and the hare immediately became a human being again. "Well, how do you like to serve me?" said the troll, "and how do you like being a hare?" The lad replied that he liked it very well. He had never been able to go over the ground so quickly before. The troll then showed him a bushel of money that he had already earned, and the lad was well pleased to serve him for another year. The first day of the second year, the boy had the same work to do as the previous one, namely to feed all the wild animals in the troll's stable. When he had done this, the troll again said some words to him, and with that he became a raven and flew high up into the air. This was delightful, the lad thought. He could now go even faster than he had when he was a hare, and the dog could not come after him here. This was a great delight to him, but he soon found out that he was not to be left quite at peace, for all the marksmen and hunters who saw him aimed at him and fired away, for they had no other birds to shoot at than himself, and the troll had tied up all the others. This, however, he also got used to, when they saw that they could never hit him, and in this way he flew about all that year, until the troll called him home again, and said some strange words to him, and gave him his human shape again. "Well, how did you like being a raven?" said the troll. "I liked it very well," said the lad, "for never in all my days have I been able to rise so high." Then the troll showed him 2 bushels of money which he had earned that year, and the lad was well content to remain in his service for another year. The next day he had his old task of feeding all the wild beasts. When this was done, the troll again said some words to him, and this time he turned into a fish and sprang into the river. He swam up and then he swam down, and he thought it was pleasant to let himself drive with the stream. In this way he came out right to the sea, and swam further and further out. At last he came to a glass palace, which stood at the bottom of the sea. He could see into all the rooms and halls, where everything was grand. All the furniture was made of white ivory, inlaid with gold and pearl. There was soft rugs and cushions of all the colors of the rainbow, and beautiful carpets that looked like the finest moss, and flowers and trees with curiously crooked branches, both green and yellow, white and red, and there were also little fountains which sprang up from the most beautiful snail shells and fell into bright mussel shells, and at the same time made the most delightful music which filled the whole palace. The most beautiful thing of all, however, was a young girl who went about there all alone. She went about from one room to the other, but did not seem to be happy with all the grandeur she had about her. She walked in solitude and melancholy, and never even thought of looking at her own image in the polished glass walls that were on every side of her, though she was the prettiest creature anyone could wish to see. The lad thought so too, while he swam around the palace and peeped in from every side. "Here, indeed, it would be better to be a man than such a poor dumb fish as I am now," he said to himself. "If only I could remember that the words the troll says when he changes my shape, then perhaps I could help myself to become a man again." He swam, and he pondered and thought this over until he remembered the sound of what the troll said, and then he tried to say it himself. In a moment he stood at a human form in the bottom of the sea. He made haste to enter the glass palace, and went up to the young girl and spoke to her. At first he nearly frightened the life out of her, but he talked to her so kindly and explained how he had come down here that she soon recovered from her alarm, and was very pleased to have some company to relieve the terrible solitude that she lived in. Time passed so quickly for the both of them that the youth, for he was now quite a young man and no more a lad, forgot altogether how long he had been there. One day the girl said to him that now it was close on the time that he must become a fish again. The troll would soon call him home, and he would have to go. But before that he must put on the shape of the fish, otherwise he could not pass through the sea alive. Before this, while he was staying down there, she told him that she was the daughter of the same troll whom the youth served, and she had shut her up there to keep her away from everyone. She had now devised a plan by which they could perhaps succeed in getting to see each other again and spending the rest of their lives together. But there was so much to attend to, and he must give careful heed to all that she told him. She told him that all the kings in the country around were in debt to her father, the troll, and the king of a certain kingdom, the name of which she told him, who the first who had was the first who had to pay, and if he could not do so at the time appointed, he would lose his head. And he cannot pay, said she. I know that for certain. Now you must, first of all, give up your service with my father. The 3 years are past, and you are at your liberty to go. You will go off with your 6 bushels of money to the kingdom that I have told you of, and enter the service of the king. When the time comes near for his debt to become due, you will be able to notice by the man. You will be able to notice by his manner that he is ill at ease. You shall then say to him that you know well enough that it is weighing upon him, and it is the debt that he owes to the troll, and he cannot pay, but you can lend him the money. The amount is 6 bushels, just what you have. You shall, however, only lend to him on the condition that you may accompany him when he goes to make the payment. Then you have permission to run before him as a fool. When you arrive at the troll's abode, you must perform all kinds of foolish tricks, and see that you break a whole lot of his windows and do other damage that you can. My father will then get very angry, and the king must answer for what his fool does. He will sentence him, even though he has paid off his debt, either to answer 3 questions or to lose his life. The first question my father will ask will be, Where is my daughter? Then you shall step forward and answer, She is at the bottom of the sea. Then he will ask whether you can recognize her, and to this you will answer yes. Then he will bring forward a whole troop of women and cause them to pass before you, in order that you may pick out the one that you can take for his daughter. You will not be able to recognize me at all, therefore I will catch hold of you as you go past, so that you can notice it. And you must make haste to catch me and hold me fast. When you have answered his first question, his next question will be, Where is my heart? Then you shall step forward again and answer, It is in a fish. Do you know that fish? He will say, and you will again answer yes. Then he will cause all kinds of fish to come before you, and you shall choose between them. I shall take good care to keep by your side, and when the right fish comes up I will give you a little push, and you will seize that fish and cut it up. Then all will be over with the troll, and he will ask no more questions, and we shall be free to wed. When the young youth had gotten all these directions as to what he had to do, he got ashore again, and the next thing was to remember all the words which the troll had said when he changed from a human being into an animal, but these he had forgotten, and the girl did not know them either. He went about all day in despair and thought, but he could not remember what they sounded like. During the night he could not sleep. Until morning he fell into a slumber, and all at once they flashed upon him on what the troll used to say. He made haste to repeat the words, and at the same moment he became a fish again and slipped out to the sea. Immediately after this was called upon, he swam through the sea, up to the river, where the troll stood on the bank and restored him to human shape with the same words as before. Well, how do you like being a fish? Said the troll. It's what he was like best of all, said the youth, and that was no lie, as everyone can guess. The troll then showed him 3 bushels of money that he had earned during the past year, and stood beside the other 3, and all 6 belonged to him. Perhaps you will serve me another year yet, said the troll, and you will get 6 bushels of money for it. That makes 12 in all, and that's a pretty penny. No, said the youth, though he thought he had done enough, and he was anxious to go to some other place to serve, and learn other people's ways, but he would, perhaps, come back to the troll some other time. The troll said that he would always be welcome, and he had served him faithfully for the 3 years they had agreed upon, and he could make no objections to his leaving now. The youth then got his 6 bushels of money, and with these he betook himself straight to the kingdom which his sweetheart had told him of. He got his money buried in a lonely spot close to the king's palace, and then he went in there and asked to be taken into service. He obtained his request and was taken on as a stableman to tend to the king's horses. Some time had passed, and he noticed how the king always went about sorrowing and grieving, and was never glad or happy. One day the king came to the stable, where no one was present except the youth, and straight out told him that with his majesty's permission he wished to know why he was so sorrowful. It is no use speaking about that, the king said. You cannot help me at any rate. You don't know about that, said the youth. I know well enough what it is that lies so heavy on your mind, and I also know of a plan to get the money paid. This was quite another case. The king had more talk with the stableman, who said that he could easily lend the king 6 bushels of money, but would only do it on the condition that he would be allowed to accompany the king when he went to pay his debt, and that he should be dressed like the king's court fool and run before him. He would cause some trouble, for which the king would be severely spoken to, but would answer for it, and no harm would befall him. The king gladly agreed to all that the youth proposed, and it was now high time for them to set out. When they came to the troll's dwelling, it was no longer in the bank, but on top of this stood a large castle the youth had never seen before. This the troll could in fact make visible or invisible, just as he pleased. Knowing as much as he did of the troll's magic arts, the youth was not at all surprised of this. When they came near the castle, which looked as if it was made of pure glass, the youth ran in front of the king's fool. He ran sometimes facing forwards and sometimes facing backwards, and stood sometimes on his head, sometimes on his feet, and he dashed in pieces so many of the troll's big glass windows and doors that it was something awful to see, and he overturned everything he could and made a fearful disturbance. The troll came rushing out and was so angry and furious, and abused the king with all of his might for bringing such a wretched fool with him, and he was sure that he could not pay back the least bit of damage that had been done, not even pay off his old debt. The fool, however, spoke up and said he could do so quite easily, and the king came forward with his 6 bushels of money, which the youth had lent him. They were measured and found to be correct, and this troll had not reckoned on, but made no objection against it. The old debt was honestly paid, and the king got his bond back again. But there still remained all the damage that had been done that day, and the king had nothing with which to pay for this. The troll therefore sentenced the king either to answer the 3 questions to be put before him, or have his head taken off, as was agreed in the old bond. There was nothing else to be done than try to answer the troll's riddles. With the fool stationed himself just by the king's side, when the troll came forward with his questions, he first asked, "Where is my daughter?" The fool spoke up and said, "She is at the bottom of the sea." "How do you know that?" said the troll. "The little fish saw it," said the fool. "Would you know her?" said the troll. "Yes, bring her forward," said the fool. The troll made a whole crowd of women go past them, one after the other, but all of these were nothing but shadows and deceptions. Amongst the very last was the troll Reel's daughter, who pinched the fool as he went past him to make him aware of her presence. He thereupon caught her around the waist and held her fast, and the troll had to admit that the first riddle was solved. The troll asked again, "Where is my heart?" "It isn't a fish," said the fool. "Would you know that fish?" said the troll. "Yes, bring it forward," said the fool. Then all the fishes came swimming past him, and meanwhile the troll's daughter stood just by the youth's side. When at last the right fish came swimming along, she gave him a nudge, and he seized it at once. He drove his knife into it, and split it up, and took the heart out of it, and then he cut it through the middle. At the same moment the troll fell dead, and turned into pieces of flint. With all the bonds that the troll had made, all the bonds that the troll had bound were broken, and all the wild beasts and birds which he had caught and hid under the ground were free now, and dispersed themselves into the wood and into the air. The youth and his sweetheart entered the castle, which was now theirs, and held their wedding, and all the kings round about, who had been in the troll's debt and were now out of it, came to the wedding, and saluted the youth as their emperor, and he ruled over them all, and kept peace between them, and lived in his castle with his beautiful empress, in great joy and magnificence, and they have not died, and they are since living to this day. The the end. What? Man, that was a whole confusing one. Honestly, when I first read it, I had no idea what was going on. Hi, Yoki, I love you. Hi, Midori, thank you for joining in. Honestly, sounds like our mod contract. It isn't that bad. I just asked for your soul. You can't escape my service. All my mods must bow down to me. Oh ho ho ho. Oh ho ho ho. I'm kidding. Yoki is a very does not mean to her mods. Yoki is very nice to her mods. Yoki is very, very nice to her mods. I have never been mean to my mods once. Right, mods? Right, mods? Right, mods? Right, mods? Right, mods? Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you.
Heart.
Yeah, no. See, they're perfectly fine. Oh, wait, what the hell is this? Alright, anyway. We need Ojo-sama Yoki art. Oh, like, I rule over all you plebeians. Oh, something like that. I don't think I'm. I don't think I'm that much of a narcissist. All of you must bow down to me. Imagine. World domination, Yoki-lan. When is my turn for world domination? Thank you for the super chat though. Uh, okay. Without further ado, what was the next story again? I kind of forgot. um, let's see. Uh, the story of the Yara. Hold on, I'm trying to copy and paste it. Uh, eh, eh, so, eh, eh. Okay, there we go. Bow down before Ojo-sama Yoki. Bow down before me, all of you. I am, I am the most superior. All of you are the dirt beneath my feet. No, even worse than dirt. You are but the stones in between the soles of my shoes. I will never kneel to Yoki. Are you still mad about that one time I got your name wrong? Come on, man. Alright, here we go. Bow down to me, all of you. Feet. I said shoes! Come on! How are you guys such degenerates that even the word feet can trigger all of you? Exot. Exot, all of you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. You should be ashamed of yourself. Is that what you want? You guys like feet? You guys like feet? You guys like feet? Alright then. Alright then, I'll show you your feet. I'll show you feet. I'll show you your feet. The feet that you so desperately want. Excellent. Hold on. Hold on. 1 second. 1 second. One second. What? Come on. Ah, that's why. Okay. Wait, ちょっと待って. There you go. Hold on. Sorry, I messed up something. What? Why did I change this? Okay. Wait, whoops. Why is it doing this? Why is it doing this? It's breaking. It's breaking. Alright. Okay. You guys want to see feet? You guys want to see feet? Is that what you want? Is that what you want? Is that what you want? Do you want feet? I'm not talking to you, Chart. Haha. You thought I would give you the feet so easily, huh? Huh? You thought it would be easily obtainable. Well, you thought wrong. You thought wrong. You thought wrong. Ha! I'll never give you my feet. They're locked behind a paywall. The feet are locked behind a paywall. You were scammed. Yes, you were scammed. However, wait, hold on. I can give you something else. I know exactly what to give you. ちょっと待って, okay? Just, you're gonna have to wait a little bit. Those pixels are easy to see through. No, they're not. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway. Okay, you're gonna have to wait a second, alright? This is a very tedious process. Like, no, like, seriously, no. It's really, really tedious. But it's funny, so I want to show it to you. Okay. Is this another $1 per foot? You're so desperate! You're so okay, hold on. Just give me a second. Okay? I need a, okay. Whoops, ちょっと. No, it's not what I wanted to do. Huh, okay. Okay. One more thing. And then, where is it? Here it is. You guys are gonna hate me for this. Here we go. I did it. Okay. I did it. Alright, I'm all done. I wanna apologize in advance. I wanna apologize in advance. Are you ready? Are you ready? Hi guys, how are you doing? It's Inami Yoki. Hi everybody. Hi. So let's get back to the stream, shall we? Let's get back to the stream, shall we? There's nothing wrong and I've changed nothing. Sorry, all that time was just me taking a break behind the scenes. I didn't change anything whatsoever. I didn't change anything whatsoever. Not one thing. You guys okay? Taco. Taco, please. Taco, you see nothing that changed, did you? Past you check. Don't redeem those! You should be concerned right now. Yeah, so anyway, guys, there's nothing wrong. I don't know what you're talking about. Teehee. I love it. Thank you. The Hakasupa. The Hakasupa.
I love it.
No, the Hakasupa. No, the Hakasupa. Slut. Slut. No, Taco, that's not what changed at all. Taco, that's not what changed at all. The freaking Aquasupa. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the Aquasupa. Oh man, I'm gonna cry. I know it changed and I know it's coming. There's nothing that changed. I don't know what you're talking about, Lakon. You're crazy. This is just normal Yoki over here. My name is Yoki Inami. I'm Yoki Inami. Time traveler pushes chair. The timeline. There's nothing that changed. I don't know what you guys are talking about. This is just normal Yoki. Okay, I'm gonna switch back now. This really disturbed me a lot. This really disturbs me a lot. Did something change, Taco? Taco? How long have you been watching my streams, Taco? Taco? Look at me. Look me in the eyes. What is missing? I've never had any pants. Oh, wait. No, I have pants. I have... Well... Oh, shit. Since debut. Alright, now what's missing? What's missing? Talk about your face! Taco! Yoki, where is the trademark thing? It took you so long to notice. I swear I thought you were being sarcastic. Oh, Yoki has pants, but Yoki doesn't have pants. Okay, oh shit. Yoki has pantsu, but not pants, okay? Oh, wait, this is sweating. I just got here. Where is your fang? Where is your fang? Pantsu? What color? Shut up, dude! Anyway. No pan. I have pan! I didn't want the conversation to devolve to this. This is supposed to be a very nice, very comfy storytelling stream. Understand? Got it? No pan. I have pants! Thing. You can prove us you have pants by telling us the color. I forgot. No, seriously, wait, I really forgot. I don't really think you have to... I don't really think you look at it before putting it on, you know? I don't really think you look at it before putting it on, right? Like, you don't just go, what color pants will I wear today? That's not just something you do. That's just... Yoki took off the dentures. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry! But anyway, yeah, no, that's just not just something you do. I just say, oh great, I have a pair, and then put it on, and then, like, I don't really look at it, gotcha. She's going comedic with, I mean, no, I'm not! That would be very, very dangerous considering how short my hoodie is. Of course I have something under there. I'm pretty sure it's like training shorts or something. I forgot though. Agree, I wouldn't think wearing one. I am! I can't prove it to you. Hold on, let me see. How am I supposed to prove it to you? How am I supposed to... My hoodie is too long to see anything. Look, you see, my hoodie's too long to see anything. Also, it doesn't. Okay, hold on. Let me see if like turning up the jiggle physics will help at all. Oh wait, oops, tilt up. Okay, I turned up the physics to the max. I don't think Papa put any physics on the skirt. Oops. Yeah, no, he didn't put any physics on the jacket. Imagine if he did. I see. I can't prove it to you. I can't prove it to you. I can't prove it to you. So, imagine Schrodinger's pen. Schrodinger's pen. Whether or not they are there is up to whether or not you can look, and nobody can look. So it's not like they are both there and not there. They are both pan and no. I'm both pan and no pan. Schrodinger's pan. The only thing moving is the zipper and my sleeves. But Schrodinger's pantsuit. It's exactly that. Hold on, I'm gonna turn it back down again. Oh, I keep turning off the wrong one. This is a strange story reading stream. How did it get to this point? Anyway, I'm gonna while I'm like not visible anymore, I'm gonna switch back because this makes me very uncomfortable. The no fang, it makes me very uncomfortable. It's like trademark. Me without it is just listen, it's different and I don't like it. Hold on. Okay. Now I change back. Oops, I'm very close to the screen. Oh, hello. Yoki, I'm scared. I'm wearing shorts. Yes, I am. I'm wearing training shorts. I'm wearing training shorts. Trust me. Trust Yoki, okay? Yoki is wearing training shorts. I'm wearing training shorts, okay? Okay, listen. Just think about it like this. Considering how clumsy Yoki is, it would be considerably more dangerous me wearing no pants because my hoodie is very short and I refuse to wear like actual pants, right? So considering how long my hair is and how often I trip on my hair and the fact that I work in a cafe, it's only proper just to wear training shorts just for the general protection of the public. Listen, it's important, alright? It's very important. There is something down there, alright? Yoki is not no pan. Yoki is not no pan. I would check right now and tell you what color they are, but that would be very improper. It would be very improper of Yoki to do that on stream, okay? So, I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you. Perhaps if I got $1,000 right now, I'm kidding. It was a joke. It was a joke. Please don't. It was just really just genuinely a joke. Please do not. I'm being serious here. Okay, but anyway, with that entire conversation aside, oh, like you haven't done anything improper before. Listen. Yoki might not be the most say-so, but Yoki is considerably say-so, alright? Alright? Yoki is not the most R18 cafe. No! Taco's contribution towards the house. Thank you! Taco. I'm mildly disappointed. 9 more Aka's boys. So imagine the Yoki wet pantsuit color fun. Yoki is a good egg, a bit rotten, but a good egg. I'm not an egg at all. What were we doing again? What was the title of the stream again? Man, this is because Susan, listen. We were talking about like pants, like regular pants. All right, we were talking about jeans and stuff. We were talking about the color of my jeans. All right, right, all right, Susan. Story. Yoki is so hard boiled, so cool. Thank you for the super chat. You guys aren't seriously going to do this right now, right? You guys aren't doing this right now, right? I'm loving this cafe egg gaslighting stream. I hate it here. I hate it here. You guys call me an egg. You guys say I'm low pan. You guys say such mean things about Yoki. These are very false rumors. These are all very, very false rumors, and I do not condone any of them. Yoki has very, very nice pantsuit, alright? Yoki wears it very properly, okay? Wait, are you say so? Yeah, well, yeah, you are say so? Yeah, yes. Yoki is very say so. I'm talking about jeans, okay? Okay, I'm talking about jeans. I'm gonna prove that. $888 left. Imagine. Guys, please, I'm begging you, don't. Yoki love, Yoki is say so, I hate it here. Anyway, what story was I on again? The story of the Yara. And that's on page 477. Oh wait, wasn't there a fan art of Yoki where she revealed pantsuit color? No, there wasn't. Pantsuit color changes daily, you know that. If you wore the same pantsuit every day, that would be gross. Wash your pantsuit, people. I never knew Yoki say so until now. Yoki is very say so. Yoki is very say so. 477, 476, 391, 427, 473. Oh. Okay. Yeah, it was from that artist Nugget. That's not a reveal. That's just like listen, it's a hypothetical, all right? It was a guess, all right? You don't wear the same pantsuit every day now, do you? You don't just have the same colored pantsuit every single day. That's weird. That doesn't give any variety in your life. 8K subs pantsuit color reveal. Imagine. No, I'm only saying it if I get 100 and 100. Wait. Not a bully, just curious. No.
Not bully, just curious.
No. Guys, we have it easy. We just buy. Thank you for the Yakasupa and the membership and the freaking hell. You guys are determined. You guys are seriously determined, huh? Anywho, can I finally get to reading this story? Can I finally get to reading? Me waiting to hear some story. I'm gumming it. I've been trying to read the story too. Okay, alright, we're finally gonna read the story. That entire conversation did not just happen, alright? You got like 6 more Akasupas left. I'm joking, alright? I'm joking. For legal reasons, this is a joke. For Susan reasons, this is a joke. Please do not take this seriously at all. Okay? I need my memberships open, okay? Yoki's poor. Yoki needs to eat. If I get demonetized, Yoki will go out of business, alright? Please. egg. Listen, you donate $600 and see how easy that is. I set the goal high for a reason. I mean, what goal? What goal? Huh? T. Heh. 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 Okay, anyway, here we go. The story of the Yara. Duke. Oh no. Okay, so anyway. Down in the south, where the sun shines so hotly that everything and everybody sleeps all day, and even the great forest seems silent except early on in the morning and late in the evening. Don't try me, Yoki. I'm trying you. I'm trying you. You're not going to. You're a skeleton. I already pickpocketed your wallet. Goals are meant to be achieved. Let's go. Oh no! 5. Please. Oh no. Can I? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Kuso. Okay, so anyway, down in the south where the sun shines so hotly and that everything and everybody sleeps all day, and even the great forest seems silent except early in the morning and late in the... I didn't even... Oh no.
_Yoki-sai.
I'm worried. Oh no. Oh no. You guys are done, right? You guys are done, right? You guys are done, right? You're done, right? Yeah, you guys are done, right? You're done, right? I can go back to reading, right? Alright, anyway. Down in this country there once lived a young man and a maiden. The girl had been born into the town and had scarcely ever left it, but the young man was native of another country and had only come to the city near the great river because he could find no work to do where he was. A few months after his arrival, I'm very concerned right now. I'm just looking back at the chat and looking back at my book. A few months after his arrival, when the days were cooler and the people did not sleep as so much as usual, a great feast was held a little way out of the town, and to this feast everyone flocked from 30 miles or more. Some walked and some rode. Some came in beautiful golden coaches, but all had on splendid dresses of red or blue, while wreaths of flower rested in their hair. It was the first time that the youth had been present on such an occasion, and he stood silently aside, watching the graceful dances and the pretty games played by the young people. And as he watched, he noticed one girl, dressed in white with scarlet pomegranates in her hair, who seemed to him lovelier than all the rest. When the feast was over and the young man had returned home, his manner was so strange that it drew the attention of all of his friends. Through work the next day, the youth continued to see the girl's face, throwing the ball to her companions or threading her way between them as she danced. At night, sleep fled from him, and after hours of tossing on his bed, he would get up and plunge into a deep pool, a little way into the forest. Duke summoned me. Duke summoned you, why? Duke summoned you, why? No, listen, sorry. You don't have an obligation to watch my stream, okay? You don't need to watch the stream, okay? Alright? You don't need to watch the stream, okay? Nothing happened. Nothing happened, alright? You don't need to be here, alright? You don't need to be here, right? Right? Not, it's fine. You can go back to doing whatever you're doing. If you're resting or if you're busy, you can go back to doing that. Okay, okay. Just don't listen to Duke, okay? Because everything he says is a lie. Please. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
Gentlemen, we must band together to achieve
Oh no!
greatness.
Oh no!
I will donate
Man.
to Duke.
Wait, like, I didn't even know Canadian dollars amounted to that much money. Man, that's kind of strange. But oh my god, I will not survive here. I am concerned. I am concerned. Oh no. Oh no. Um, so, um, you guys are done now, right? You guys are done now, right? You guys are done now, right? You're done, right? That's it, right? Everything's done, right? You guys are finished now, right? You guys are finished now, right? Oh, the irony of her pants is Aka. It's not. It's not. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Until the quote unquote goal is reached. But I highly doubt that'll ever be the case. It is. I highly doubt that will ever be the case. Okay. Anyway, back to. Where was I? I lost my train of thought. Whew, this is a storytelling stream. Yoki is very say so. Alright. Through his work, okay, anyway. This state of things went on for some weeks. Then at last, chance favored him. One evening, as he was passing near the house of where she lived, he saw her standing with her back to the wall, trying to beat off with her fan the attacks of a savage dog that was leaping at her throat. Alonzo, for was such his name, sprang forward, and with one blow, his fist stretched the poor creature dead upon the ground. Then helped a frightened and half-fainting girl into a cool, large veranda where her parents were sitting. And from that hour, he was a welcome guest in the house, and it was not long before he was the promised husband of Julia. Every day, when his work was done, he used to go up to the house, half hidden along the flowering plants and the brilliant creepers, where hummingbirds darted from bush to bush, and parrots of all colors, red, green, and gray, shrieked in a chorus. There he would find the maiden waiting for him, where she would spend an hour or two under the stars, which looked so large and bright you felt as if you could almost touch them. "What did you do last night after you went home?" suddenly the girl asked one evening. "Just the same thing I always do," answered he. "It was too hot to sleep, so there was no use in going to bed, and I walked straight off into the forest and bathed in one of those deep, dark pools at the edge of the river. I have been there for constantly for several months, but last night I heard a strange thing happened. While I was taking my last plunge, I heard sometimes from one side, sometimes from the other, the sound of a voice singing more sweetly than any nightingale. Though I could not catch any words, I left the pool, dressing myself as fast as I could. I searched every bush, tree around the water, as I fancied perhaps that it was my friend who was playing a trick on me, but there was not a creature to be seen, and when I reached home, I found my friend fast asleep. As Julia listened, her face grew deadly white, and her whole body shivered as if, with cold. From her childhood, she had heard stories of terrible beings that lived in the forest, and were hidden under the banks of rivers, and could only be kept off by powerful charms. Could the voice which had bewitched Alonzo come from one of these people? Perhaps, who knows, it might be the voice of the dreaded Yara herself, who sought young men on the eve of their marriage as her prey. For a moment, the girl sat choked with fear as these thoughts come rushing through her. Then she said, "Alonzo, will you promise me something?" "What is that?" said he. It has something to do with our future happiness." "Oh, it is serious then? Well, of course I promise. Now tell me." "I want you to promise," she answered, lowering her voice to a whisper, "to never bathe in those pools again." "But why not, queen of my soul? Have I not gone there always? Nothing has harmed me, flower of my heart." No, but perhaps something will. If you will not promise, I shall go mad with fright. Promise me. Why, what is the matter? You look so pale. Tell me, why are you so frightened? Did you not hear the song? She asked, trembling. Suppose I did. How could that hurt me? It was the loveliest song I ever heard. Yes, and after the song will come an apparition. And after that, I don't understand. Well, after that? After that, death. Alonso stared at her. Had she really gone mad? Such talk was very unlike Julia, but before he could collect his senses, the girl spoke again. That is the reason why I implore you to never go there again, at any rate until after we are married. And what difference will our marriage make? Oh, there will be no danger then. You can go you can go bathe as often as you like. But tell me, why are you so afraid? Because the voice you heard, and I know you will laugh, but it is quite true. It was the voice of a Yara. At these words, Alonso burst into a shout of laughter, but it sounded so harsh and loud that Julia shrank away, shuddering. It seemed that she could not stop himself, and the more he laughed, the paler the poor girl became, murmuring to herself as she watched him. Oh heaven, you've seen her, you've seen her. What shall I do? Faint as her whisper, it reached the ears of Alonso, who, though he still could not speak for laughing, he shook his head. You may not know it, but it is true. Nobody who has not seen the Yara laughs like that. And Julia flung herself on the ground, weeping bitterly. At this sight, Alonso suddenly became grave, kneeling by her side, gently raising her up. Do not cry so, my angel, he said. I will promise you anything you please, only let me see you smile again. With great effort, Julia checked her sobs and rose to her feet. Thank you, she answered. My heart grows lighter as you say that. I know you will keep your word to stay away from the forest, but the power of the Yara is very strong, and the sound of her voice is apt to make men forget everything else in the world. Oh, I have seen it. And more than one betrothed maiden lives alone, broken-hearted. If you shall ever return to the pool where you first heard the voice, promise me to at least take this with you. And opening a curiously carved box, she took out a seashell shot with many colors and sang softly into it. The moment you hear the Yara's voice, said she, put this to your ear, and you will hear my song instead. Perhaps, I do not know for certain, but perhaps I may be stronger than the Yara. It was late that night when Alonso turned home. The moon was shining on the distant river, which looked cool and inviting, but the trees of the forest seemed to stretch out their arms and beckon them near. The young man steadily turned to faces in the other direction and went home to bed. The struggle had been hard, but Alonso had his reward the next day in joy and relief when but Alonso had his reward the next day in the joy and relief with which Julia greeted him. He he assured her, having overcome the temptation once, the danger was now over, but she, knowing better than he did, the magic of the Yara's face and voice did not fail to make him repeat his promise when he went away. For 3 nights Alonso kept his word, not because he believed in the Yara, for he thought tales about her were all nonsense, but because he could not bear the tears in which he knew that Julia would greet him if he confessed that he had returned from the forest. If he confessed that he had returned from the forest, but in spite of this, the song rang in his ears and daily grew louder. On the 4th night, the attraction to the forest grew so strong that neither the thought of Julia nor the promises that he had made her could hold him back. At 11 o'clock, he plunged into the cool darkness of the trees and took the path that led straight to the river. Yet for the first time, he found that Julia's warnings, though he had laughed at her at the moment, had remained in his memory, and he glanced at the bushes with a certain sense of fear which was quite new to him. When he reached the river, he paused and looked around for a moment to make sure that the strange feeling of someone watching him was fancy, and he really was alone. Huh. But the moon shone brightly on every tree, and nothing was to be seen but his own shadow. Nothing was to be heard but the sound of the rippling stream. He threw off his clothes, and just as he was about to dive in headlong, when something, he did not know what, suddenly caused him to look around. At the same instant the moon passed from behind a cloud, and as its rays fell on a beautiful golden-haired woman standing in front of him, half hidden by the ferns. With one bound he caught up his mantle and rushed headlong down the path he had come, fearing each step to feel a hand laid on his shoulder. It was not till he had left the last trees behind him, that he was standing in an open plain, that he dared to look around, and then he thought the figure in white was still standing there, waving her arms to and fro. This was enough. He ran along the road harder than ever, and never paused till he was safe in his own room. With the earliest rays of dawn, he went back to the forest to see if he could find any traces of the tiara. But though he searched every clump of bushes and looked up every tree, everything was empty, and the only voices he heard were those of the parrots, which were so ugly that they only drive people away. I think I must be mad, he said to himself. I must have dreamt all that folly. And going back to the city, he began his daily work. But either that was harder than usual, or he must be ill, for he could not fix his mind upon it. And everybody he came across during the day inquired if anything had happened to him to give him that white, frightened look. I must be feverish, he said to himself. After all, it is rather dangerous to take a cold bath when one is feeling so hot. Yet he knew, while he said it, that he was counting the hours for night to come, that he might return to the forest. In the evening, he went as usual to the creeper-covered house. He had better stay, but he had better stayed away, as his face was so pale and his manner so strange that the poor girl saw that something terrible had occurred. Alonzo, however, refused to answer any of her questions, and all that she could get was a promise to hear everything the next day. On the pretense of a violent headache, he left Julia much earlier than usual and hurried quickly home. Taking down a pistol, he loaded it into his belt, and a little before midnight he stole out on the tips of his toes as to not disturb nobody. Once outside, he hastened down the road which led to the forest. He did not stop until he had reached the river pool. When holding the pistol in his hand, he looked about him. At every little noise, at every falling leaf, the rustle of an animal in the bushes, at the cry of a night bird, he sprang up and cocked the pistol in the direction of the sound. But though the moon still shone, he saw nothing, and by, a kind of dreamy state seemed to steal over him as he leant against the tree. How long he remained in that condition could not have been told, but suddenly he awoke with a start on hearing his own name muttered softly. "Who is that?" he cried, standing upright instantly, but only an echo answered him. Then his eyes grew fascinated with the dark waters of the pool close to his feet. He looked at it as if he could never look away. He gazed steadily into the depths for some minutes, when he became aware that down in the darkness was a bright spark, which rapidly got bigger and bigger. Again, that feeling of an awful fear took possession of him, and he tried to turn his eyes from the pool, but it was no use. Something stronger than himself compelled him to keep him there. At last the waters parted softly, and floating to the surface he saw a beautiful woman, whom he had fled from a few nights before. He turned to run, but his feet were glued to the spot. She smiled at him and held out her arms, but as she did so there came over him the remembrance of Julia, as he had seen her a few hours earlier, and her warnings and the fears of the very danger in which he now found himself. Meanwhile, the figure was always drawing nearer and nearer, but with a violent effort, Alonzo shook off his stupor, and taking aim at her shoulder, he pulled the trigger. The report awoke the sleeping echoes, and was repeated through the forest, but the figure smiled still and went on advancing. Again Alonzo fired, and the second time the bullet whistled through the air, and the figure advanced nearer. A moment more she would be by its side. Then, his pistol being empty, he grasped the barrel with both of his hands, and stood ready to use it as a club as the Yara approached any closer. But now it seemed her turn to feel afraid, for she paused an instant while he pressed forward, still holding the pistol above his head, prepared to strike. In excitement he had forgotten the river, and it was not until the cold water touched his feet that he stood still by instinct. The Yara saw that he was wavering and suffering herself to gently sway backwards and forwards on the surface of the river, and she began to sing. The song floated through the trees, now far and near. No one could tell whence it came, and the whole air seemed full of it. Alonzo felt his senses going and his will failing. His arms dropped heavily to his side, but in their falling, his hand struck against the seashell, which he had promised Julia he had always carried in his coat. His dim mind was just clear enough to remember what she said, and that with trembling fingers that were almost powerless to grasp, he drew it out. As he did so, the song grew sweeter and more tender than before, but he shut his ears and bent his head over the shell. Out of his depths arose the voice of Julia, singing to him as she had sung when she gave him the shell. Though the notes sounded faint at first, they swelled louder and louder till the mist which had gathered about him was blown away. Then he raised his head, feeling that Feeling that he had been through strange places where he could never wander anymore, he held himself erect and strong and looked about him. Nothing was to be seen but the shining of the river and the dark shadows of the trees. Nothing was to be heard but the hum of the insects as they darted through the night. And that's the end of it. The end. And that's the end of that story. Hi. I don't think I have anything to be worried about now, as all of you seem to be finished. So I think we're okay. I think we're safe. We are all. Listen. We're safe from what? Oh no. So you. Nothing, Char. Nothing, Char. Don't worry about it. Safe from what? Shh. Nothing, Char. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I think I'm safe. Don't worry. All you need to know is that I'm safe. But that's the end of the story of the Yara. Essentially, for those that don't understand the story, a man is to be wed to a wife named Julia, and the man every night, because it's so hot, he goes to a river pool to bathe, and he hears a beautiful song, and once he tells Julia this, Julia is afraid and says that it is the voice of the Yara. The Yara is an entity that lures men on the eve of their marriage to their deaths, essentially. Kind of think like a siren. So Julia gives him a shell with her own voice in it, and says whenever he hears the song again to put it to his ear. Now he goes back because he saw the Yara, and he's like afraid of the Yara now, and he tries to find her, and he takes a pistol and he tries to shoot her, but it doesn't work. And the Yara starts singing, but he puts the shell to his ear, and he hears Julia's voice instead, and the Yara essentially is defeated. Remember, 2 left. There's 2 left. Oh my god, wait. There's 2 left. There's 2 left. Nah, you guys won't do it. You guys won't do it. I'll be fine. Don't worry. You guys won't do it. I know you won't. You guys aren't brave enough. Crap. Where is it? Here it is. There it is. Hi. Cap. Yeah, I'm capping you guys. You guys are the cap. My first. Oh no!
My first right pointing
One
finger,
more.
left pointing finger.
Thank you for this. Thank you for. Oh. We might have a problem. This might be an issue. This might be an issue. This might be a problem. This might be a problem. I didn't think this would happen. Come on, it. Yoki, Yasura. Issue for you, glorious information for us. Oh no. Okay. Hi, Vera. I suppose it is my turn to hold up my end of the bargain, isn't it? I suppose it is my turn to hold up the end of the bargain now, isn't it? It is time now, isn't it? Oh no. Ah, I see. Note to self: do not make bets that chat can fulfill. Bargain did you strike with chat? Yoki might be dumb, but Yoki always keeps your promises, alright? When Yoki promises something, Yoki always does it. Therefore, I must. Yoki. Yoki has an announcement. Yoki has an announcement. I am. White with pink stripes. Alright, I'm leaving. Good night. I'll see Yoki, everybody. I'll see Yoki. Bye. What? Bye, everybody. Unfortunately, we cannot end the stream here because I have more stories. Hold on, I think I might have lost myself. So give me a second. Haha, 1 second. ちょっと待って。There you go. There you go. Hi. 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 We didn't. Nothing happened, okay, chat? None of this happened. Nothing happened. Okay, chat? Okay, chat? Alright, chat? How girly of you. Shut up, all of you. Oh, nothing, shut. Nothing. I hate it here. I want to go home. Nothing. Nothing. Suck. This is the end of my VTubing career. I'm graduating. I swear to God. Nothing, chat, please. Hi. So, yeah, no, we're good. We're fine. So anyway. Next story. Let's see. It's King Kodata. Okay. 100 to 63. Alright, okay. Never make bets to chat that chat can fulfill. I've learned a lesson in life. I have learned my lesson. I have learned that Yoki is... I think it is only fair that Trevor and Duke reveal their pants colors. You see, I don't want to know Trevor's, and I think Duke is a skeleton and physically cannot wear it. So I don't think there's a severe lack in trust here. Okay, so anyway, I don't want to know yours, Trevor. Okay, okay. Oh my god. Both of you. I saw. And you said I'm the unsafe one. Both of you. Both of you are chastising me like, oh Yoki, you know how much trouble we have as mods in your stream, and you guys do this. So I didn't want to know that information at all. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah. What am I gonna do with all of you? All right. Okay. Hi. Hi. Thank you for all of your combined efforts for the Akasupa, everybody. I hope you got what you wanted. I hope you got what you wanted. This day will be permanently engraved in my memory as the day in which I failed. The day in which Yoki has failed. Kuso. No, hold on. Sorry, I was fixing something. Ay. Wow. Oh, whoops. This might be a problem. Hold on. I accidentally, I messed something up. Please forgive Yoki. Okay, hold on. I think I'm gonna have to redo this entirely. Oh, wait, whoops. Sorry, I just broke my my OBS. Okay, there we go. Here. There you go. Now we're all good. I'm gonna stretch. Okay. I hope you all got what you wanted. I'm impressed with your ability to work together towards a certain goal. We never speak of this day again. Ever. Okay? 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 Alright, so anyway, what were we talking about? Sorry, I don't remember. I accidentally hit my head and now I have short-term memory loss. LOL. BRB commissioning Skebs char, please no. No. Sorry. No. This is supposed to be a story time stream. What happened? This is supposed to be a story time stream. What happened? That scared me. I accidentally opened Spotify and it just shoved in my face and it scared me. What a terrible day. What a terrible day. What a terrible day. What a terrible day. Alright. So anyway. It was King Kojada and it was on, I think, 193 I mentioned. No, it's not. It's not on 193. No. It's on... What is it? It's on... 163. Hi. Also, Susan, please do not ban Yoki. Please do not ban Yoki. Yoki has done nothing wrong, ever. Anyway, without further ado, here is King Kojada. Hold on, I need to see how many pages this is. This is a lot of pages. There once upon a time was a king called Kojada, whose beard was so long that it reached below his knees. 3 years had passed since his marriage, and he was able to live happily ever after with his life. But heaven granted him no heir, which grieved the king greatly. One day he set forth from his capital in order to make a journey through his kingdom. He traveled for nearly a year through the different parts of his territory, and then, having seen there was all to be seen, he set forth his homeward way. As the day was hot and sultry, he commanded his servants to pitch tents to open in the field, there await the cool of the evening. Suddenly a frightful thirst seized the king, and as he saw no water near, he mounted his horse and rode through the kingdom looking for a spring. Before long he came to a well filled to the brim with water clear as crystal, and on the bosom uh, of which was a golden jug floating. King Kojata at once tried to seize the vessel, but as though he endeavored to grasp it with his right hand, and then with his left, the wretched thing always eluded his efforts and refused to let itself be caught. First with one hand and then with two did the king try to seize it, but like a fish the goblet always slipped through his fingers and bobbled to the ground, only to reappear at some other place and mock the king. "Plague on you," said King Kojata, "I can quench my thirst without you," and bending over the well he lapped up the water so greedily that he plunged his face, beard and all, right into the crystal mirror. But when he had not satisfied his thirst and wished to raise himself up, he couldn't lift his head because someone held his beard fast in the water. "Who's there? Let me go," cried King Kojata, but there was no answer. Only with an awful face looked up from the bottom of the well were two great green glowing eyes, glowing like emeralds, and a wide mouth reaching from ear to ear, showing 2 rows of gleaming white teeth, and the king's beard was held not by mortal hands but by 2 claws. At last a hoarse voice sounded from the depths. "All your trouble is in vain, King Kojata. I will only let you go on the condition that you give me something you know nothing about, which and which you will be fine, and which you will find on your return home." The king didn't pause to ponder long. For what, thought he, could be in my palace without my knowing about it? That thing is absurd. So he answered quickly, "Yes, yes, I promise that you shall have it." The voice replied, "Very well, but it will go ill with you if you fail to keep your promise." Then the claws relaxed their hold, and the face disappeared in the depths. The king drew his chin out of the water and shook himself like a dog, when he mounted his horse and rode thoughtfully home with his retinue. Then they approached the capital, and all the people came out to greet them with joy and acclamation, and the king reached his palace with the queen, and the queen met him on the threshold. Beside her stood the prime minister, holding a little cradle in his hands, in which lay a newborn child as beautiful as the day. Then saw the whole thing dawn on the king, and groaning deeply, he muttered to himself, "So this is what I did not know about," and tears rolled down his cheeks. As the courtiers standing around were much amazed at the king's grief, but no one dared ask him the cause of it. He took the child in his arms and kissed it tenderly. Then, laying in the cradle, he was determined to control his emotion and began to reign again as before. The secret of the king remained a secret, though his grave, careworn expression escaped no one's notice, in constant dread that his child would be taken away from him. Poor Kojata knew no rest night or day. However, as time went on, nothing happened. Days and months and years passed, and the prince grew up into a beautiful youth. And at last the king forgot all about the incident that happened so long ago. One day the prince went out hunting, and in pursuit of a wild boar, he soon lost the other huntsmen, and found himself to be quite alone in the middle of a dark wood. The trees grew so thick and near together that it was almost impossible to see through them, and only straight in front of him lay a little patch of meadowland, overgrown with thistles and rank weeds, in the center of which a leafy lime reared itself. Suddenly a rustling sound was heard in the hollow of a tree, and an extraordinary old man with green eyes and a chin left out of it. "A fine day, Prince Milan," said he. "You've kept me waiting a good number of years. It is high time for you to come pay me a visit." "Who are you, in the name of wonder?" demanded the astonished prince. "You will find out soon enough, but in the meantime do as I bid you. Greet your father, King Kojata, from me, and don't forget to remind him of the debt. The time has long passed since it was due, but now he will have to pay it. Farewell for the present. We shall meet again." With these words the old man disappeared into the tree, and the prince returned home rather startled, and he told his father all that he had seen and heard. The king grew white as a sheet as he heard the prince's story, and said, "Woe is me, my son! The time has come where we must part." And with a heavy heart he told the prince what had happened at the time of his birth. "Don't worry or distress yourself, dear father," answered Prince Milan. "Things are never as bad as they look. Only give me a horse for my journey, and I wager you'll soon see me back again." The king gave him a beautiful charger, with golden stirrups and a sword. The queen hung a little cross around his neck, and after much weeping and lamentation, the prince bade them all farewell and set forth on his journey. He rode straight on for 2 days, and on the third one he came to a lake as smooth as glass and as clear as crystal. Not a breath of wind moved, not a leaf stirred, and all was silent as the grave. Only on the still bosom of the lake 30 ducks with brilliant plumage swam about in the water. Not far from the shore, Prince Milan noticed 30 little white garments laying on the grass, and dismounting from his horse, he crept down under the high burlishes, took one of the garments, and hid himself with it behind the bush which grew around the lake. The ducks swam about all over the place, dived down in the depths, and rose again, and glided through the waves. At last, tired of disporting themselves, they swam to shore, and 29 women put on their little white garments and instantly turned into so many beautiful maidens. When they finished dressing and disappeared, only the 30th duck couldn't come to land, and it swam close to the shore, and giving out a piercing cry, it stretched its neck timidly and gazed wildly around and then dived under again. Prince Milan's heart was so moved with pity for the poor creature that he came out from behind the burlishes to see if he could be of any help. As soon as the duck perceived him, it cried in a human voice, "Oh, dear Prince Milan, for the love of heavens, give me back my garment, and I will be so grateful to you." The prince laid the little garment on the bank beside her and stepped back into the bushes. In a few seconds, a beautiful girl in white robes stood before him, so fair and sweet and young that no pen could describe her. She gave the prince her hand and spoke, "Many thanks, Prince Milan, for your courtesy. I am the daughter of a wicked magician, and my name is Hyacinthia. My father has 30 young daughters and is a mighty ruler in the underworld, with many castles and great riches. He has been expecting you for ages, but you need no fear if you only follow my advice. As soon as you come into the presence of my father, throw yourself on the ground and approach him on your knees. Do not mind if he stamps furiously with his feet and curses and swears. I'll attend to the rest. In the meantime, we had better be off." With these words, the beautiful Hyacinthia stamped her on the ground with her little foot, and the earth opened, and they both sank down into the lower world. The palace of the magician was all hewn out of a single carbuncle, lighting up and surrounding the entire region. And Prince Milan walked into it gaily. The magician sat on the throne, with a sparkling crown on his head. His eyes blazed like a green fire, and instead of hands he had claws. As soon as Prince Milan entered, he flung himself on his knees. The magician stamped his feet loudly and glared frightfully out of his green eyes, and cursed so loudly that the whole underworld shook. But the prince, mindful of the counsel he had been given, wasn't in the least afraid, and approached the throne still on his knees. At last the magician laughed aloud and said, "You rogue, you have been well advised to make me laugh. I won't be your enemy any more. Welcome to the underworld. All the same for your delay in coming here, we must demand 3 services from you. For today you may go, but for tomorrow I shall have something more to say to you." The 2 servants led Prince Milan into a beautiful apartment, and he lay down fearlessly on a soft bed that had been prepared for him, and he was soon fast asleep. Early the next morning the magician sent for him, and said, "Let's see now what you've learned. In the first place, you must build me a palace tonight. The roof of the purest gold, the walls of marble, and the windows of crystal. All around you must lay out a beautiful garden, with fish ponds and artistic waterfalls. Come on, if you do all this, I will reward you richly, but if you don't, you shall lose your head." "Oh, you wicked monster," thought Prince Milan, "you might as well have put me to death at once." Sadly, he returned to his room, and with a bent head he stood brooding over his cruel fate until the evening. When it grew dark, a little bee flew by, and knocking at his window, it said, "Open and let me in." Milan opened the window quickly, and as soon as the bee had entered, he changed into the beautiful Hyacinthia. "Good morning, Prince Milan. Why are you so sad?" "How can I help being sad? Your father threatens me with death. I see myself already without a head. And what have you made up your mind to do? There's nothing to be done. After, I suppose, I can only die once. Now, don't be foolish, my dear prince, but keep up your spirits. There's no need to despair. Go to bed, and when you wake up tomorrow morning, the palace will be finished. Then you must go all around it, giving a tap here and there on the walls to look as if you've just finished it." And so it turned out just as she said. As soon as with daylight, Prince Milan stepped out of his room and found the palace, which was quite a work of art, down to the very smallest detail. The magician himself was not a little astonished at its beauty, and could hardly believe his eyes. "Well, you are certainly a splendid workman," said the prince. "I see you are very clever with your hands. Now I must see if you are equally accomplished with your head. I have $30 30 daughters in my house, all beautiful princesses. Tomorrow I will place the whole 30 in a row. You must walk past them 3 times, and the 3rd time you must show me which is my youngest daughter, Hyacinthia. If you don't guess rightly, you shall lose your head." This time you've made a mistake, thought Prince Milan. Just going to his room, and he sat down at the window. Just my fancy, my not recognizing my beautiful Hyacinthia. Why, that is the easiest thing in the world. Not so easy as you think, cried the little bee who was flying past. If they weren't to help you, you'd never guessed. We are 30 sisters, so exactly alike that our own father can hardly distinguish us apart. What am I to do? Asked Prince Milan. Listen, answered Hyacinthia. You will recognize me by a tiny fly I will have on my left cheek, but be careful, for you might easily make a mistake. The next day, the magician again commanded the prince to be led before him. His daughters were all arranged in a straight row in front of them, dressed exactly alike, with their eyes bent to the ground. Now, you genius, said the magician, look at these beauties 3 times, and tell me which is the Princess Hyacinthia. For the Princess Hyacinthia. Prince Milan went past them and looked very closely, but they were also precisely alike that they looked like one face reflected in 30 mirrors. The fly was nowhere to be seen. The second time he passed, he still saw nothing. The third time, he perceived a little fly stealing down one cheek, causing it to blush a faint pink. Then the prince seized the girl's hand and cried out, "This is the Princess Hyacinthia." "You're right again," said the magician in amazement, "but I've still another task for you to do. Before this candle, which I shall light, burns to a socket, you must have made me a pair of boots reaching to my knees. If they aren't finished in that time, off comes your head." The prince returned to his room, and the Princess Hyacinthia came to him once more in the likeness of a bee and asked him, "Why so sad, Prince Milan?" "How could I help being sad? Your father has set me this time with an impossible task. Before a candle, which he has lit burns to a socket, I am to make a pair of my boots. But what does the prince know about shoemaking? If I can't do it, I lose my head." "And what do you mean to do?" asked Hyacinthia. "Well, what is there to be done? He demands I can't and won't do. He must make an end of me." "Not so, dearest. I love you dearly, and you shall marry me. I'll either save your life or die with you. We must now fly as quickly as we can, for there is no other way of escape." With these words she breathed on a window, and her breath froze on the pane. She then led Milan out of the room with her, and shut the door and threw the key away. Hand in hand they hurried to the spot where they had descended into the lower world, and at last reached the banks of the lake. Prince Milan's charger was still grazing on the grass which greened the water. The horse no sooner than recognized his master and neighed loudly with joy, and springing towards him, it stood rooted on the ground. While Prince Milan and Hyacinthia jumped on its back, it then sped onwards like an arrow from a bow. In the meantime, the magician was waiting impatiently for the prince. Enraged by the delay, he sent his servants to fetch him. Before the appointed time was past, the servants came to the door, and finding it locked, they knocked, but the frozen breath on the window replied in Prince Milan's voice, "I am coming directly." With this answer they returned to the magician, but the prince still did not appear. After a time they sent a servant a second time to bring him, but the frozen breath always gave him the same answer. The prince never came. At last the magician lost all patience and commanded the door to be burst open. When his servants did so, they found the room empty. The frozen breath laughed aloud. Out of his mind with rage, the magician ordered the prince to be pursued. Then a wild chase began. "I hear horses' hooves behind us," said Hyacinthia to the prince. Milan sprang from the saddle, put his ear to the ground, and listened. "Yes, they are pursuing us, and they are quite close. Then no time must be lost," said Hyacinthia, and she immediately turned herself into a river, Prince Milan into an iron bridge, and the charger into a blackbird. Behind the bridge, the road branched off into 3 ways. The magician's servants hurried off to the fresh tracks, but when they came to the bridge, they stood, not knowing which road to take. The footprints stopped suddenly, and there were 3 paths for them to choose from. In fear and trembling, they returned to tell the magician what had happened, and he flew into a dreadful rage when he saw him. He screamed out, "Oh, you fools! The river and the bridge were they. Go back and bring them to me at once, or it will be the worse for you." Then the pursuit began afresh. "I hear horses' hooves," sighed Hyacinthia. The prince dismounted and put his ear to the ground. "They are hurrying after us, and they are already quite near." In a moment the Princess Hyacinthia changed herself, the prince, and his charger into a thick wood, where 1,000 paths and roads crossed each other. The pursuers entered the forest, but searched in vain for the Prince Milan and his bride. At last they found themselves back at the same spot they had started from, and in despair they returned once more with empty hands to the magician. "Then I'll go after the wretches myself," he shouted. "Bring me a horse at once. They shan't escape me." And once more the beautiful Hyacinthia murmured, "I hear horses' hooves quite near." And the prince answered, "They are pursuing us hotly and are quite close. We are lost now, for that is my father himself." But at first the church but at the first church we come to, his power ceases, and he may chase us no further. Hand me your cross." Prince Milan loosened his neck a little gold cross that his mother had given to him, and as soon as Princess Hyacinthia had grasped it, she changed herself into a church, Milan into a monk, and the horse into a belfry. They had hardly done this when the magician and his servants rode up. "Did you see no one pass by on horseback, Reverend Father?" He asked the monk. Prince Milan and Princess Hyacinthia had just gone on this minute. They had stopped for a few minutes in church to say their prayers. "They bade me light this wax candle for you and give you their love." "I'd like to wring their necks," said the magician, and all made haste home, where he had every one of his servants beaten within an inch of their lives. Prince Milan rode slowly with his bride, without fearing any further pursuit. The sun was just setting, and its last rays lit up a large city they were approaching. Prince Milan was suddenly seized with an ardent desire to enter the town. "Oh, my beloved," implored Hyacinthia, "please don't go, for I am frightened and fear some evil." "What are you afraid of?" said the prince. "We'll only go and look at what's to be seen in the town for about an hour, then we'll continue our journey to my father's kingdom. The town will be easy to get into, but more difficult to get out of," sighed Hyacinthia. "But let it be as you wish. Go, and I will await you here. But I will first change myself to a white milestone, and I pray you be very careful. The king and the queen of the town will come out to meet you, leading their little child with them. Whatever you do, don't kiss the child, or you will forget me and all that has happened to us. I will wait here for you for 3 days." The prince hurried into the town, but Hyacinthia remained disguised as a white milestone on the road. The first day passed, and then the second, and the third also, but Prince Milan did not return, for he had not taken Hyacinthea's advice. The king and queen came out to meet him, as she said, and leading with them a lovely fair-haired little girl, whose eyes shone like 2 clear stars. But the child at once caressed the prince, who was carried away by its beauty, bent down and kissed it on the cheek. For the moment his memory became a blank, and he forgot all about the beautiful Hyacinthia. When the prince did not return, poor Hyacinthia wept bitterly, changing herself from a milestone into a little blue field flower. "I will grow here on the wayside until some passerby tramples me underfoot," and one of her tears remained as a dewdrop and sparkled on the little blue flower. Now, as it happened shortly that an old man passed by, and seeing the flower he was delighted with its beauty. He pulled it up carefully by the roots and carried it home, where he planted it into a pot, and watered it and tended the little plant carefully. Now the most extraordinary thing happened. For the moment everything in the old man's house changed. When he awoke in the next morning, he found his room to be tidied and put into such beautiful order that not a speck of dust was to be found anywhere. When he came home at midday, he found the table laid out with the most dainty food, and he was only to sit down and enjoy himself to his heart's content. At first he was so surprised he didn't know what to think, but after a time he grew a little uncomfortable and went to an old witch to ask for advice. The witch said, "Get up before the cock crows, and watch carefully till you see something move. Then throw this cloth quickly over it, and you'll see what will happen." All the night the man never closed an eye. When the first ray of light entered the room, he had noticed a little blue flower began to tremble, and at last it rose out of the pot and flew about the room, put everything in order, and swept away the dust and lit the fire. In great haste the old man sprang from his bed and covered the flower with the cloth the old witch had given him, and in a moment the beautiful Princess Hyacinthia stood before him. "What have you done?" she cried. "Why have you called me back to life? For I have no desire to live since my bridegroom, since the beautiful Prince Milan has deserted me." "Prince Milan is just going to be married," replied the old man. "Everything is being ready for the feast, and all the invited guests are flocking to the palace from all sides." The beautiful Hyacinthia cried bitterly when she heard this, and she dried her tears and went to the town just as a peasant woman. She went straight to the king's kitchen, where the white-aproned cooks were running about in great confusion. The princess went up to the head cook and said, "Dear cook, please listen to my request and let me make the wedding cake for Prince Milan." The busy cook was going to refuse her demand and order her out of the kitchen, but the words died on his lips as he turned and beheld the beautiful Hyacinthia, and he answered politely, "You have just come in the nick of time, fair maiden. Bake your cake, and I myself will lay it before Prince Milan." The cake was soon made, and the invited guests were already thronging around the table, and the head cook entered the room, bearing a beautiful wedding cake on a silver dish, and laid it before Prince Milan. All the guests were lost in admiration, for the cake was quite a work of art. Prince Milan had once proceeded to cut it open, and when his surprise 2 white doves sprang out of it, and one of them said to the other, "My dear mate, do not fly away and leave me, and forget me as Prince Milan forgot his beloved Hyacinthia." Milan sighed deeply when he heard what the little dove had said, and he jumped up suddenly from the table and ran out to the door, where he found the beautiful Hyacinthia waiting for him. Outside stood his beautiful charger, pawing the ground, and without pausing for a moment, Milan and Hyacinthia mounted him and galloped away as fast as they could into the country of King Kojara. The king and queen received them with such joy and gladness as they had never heard of before, and they lived happily ever after for the rest of their lives. The end. Man, that was quite a long story now, wasn't it? That was a good story, though. I'm afraid I can't recap it due to just how long and how just weird it is in general. But, you know, it was a very, very good story. So, that will be, however, the last story of the stream. And I will be ending the stream now that the story is entirely done. Thank you, everybody, though, for joining me in the stream where nothing happened. She really flexed on that guy at the end. And Netorare. That's what happened. Netorare. A very strange and confusing Netorare. But Netorare nonetheless. Alright, with that being said, it is time to end the stream. Otsuyoki, everybody. In this stream where nothing happened. Alright, I will start reading down the list of people to say Otsuyoki to. Otsuyoki TNT TDG. Otsuyoki Lark Marcus. Otsuyoki Dylan Davis. Otsuyoki Ryandy Faisal. Otsuyoki Gino M. Otsuyoki Old Hunter. Otsuyoki Taco. Otsuyoki Duke. Otsuyoki Ruffle Chief. Otsuyoki Nut. I know he's still here, so Otsuyoki Trevor. Otsuyoki Balder. Otsuyoki Lakan. Peace out, Yogurt. Peace out, Lakan. Peace out, Lakan. Alright. Hi, Trevor. Otsuyoki Leah. I was about to say Otsu Egg because Leah said it. I really hate it here. But Otsuyoki, everybody. I looked at the little mod chat once. I hate it here. They're never letting me live this down. Yoki hates me. I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Otsuyoki, sorry. I was going down the list, so if I didn't say Otsuyoki to you already, just drop a comment and I'll say Otsuyoki to you. Hey, I don't hate you, Tai. I don't hate you at all. Otsuyoki. Otsuyoki. I love you so much, Jokers. I love you so much, Leah. Otsuyoki. Otsuyoki. Oh, did everybody get their Otsuyoki? Did everybody get their Otsuyoki? Here. Now, one more thing. Mwah. Yoki cute. Cha is cute. Otsuyoki, everybody. If I didn't say Riv isn't here, but I'm gonna say Otsuyoki to him because he missed the part. I only got one. Everybody only gets one. So everybody only gets one. You aren't any exception. Okay, but Otsuyoki anyway. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye, everybody. Otsuyoki. Otsu. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Wow.